I'm here to talk about Estuary, which is a next generation IPFS node and archival storage tool and used for retrieval on the Filecoin network. So I will start with kind of giving a shout out to, I think, just a lot of the open source work that goes into making Estuary. A lot of this is by the Protocol Labs team, by people in the ecosystem, over 6 years of like thought and research going into all of this. And huge shout outs to people like Stephen Allen who've made building Estuary something possible. And if you want, you can go into our GitHub repo and you can look through all of our code. Everything is open source. So we're hoping that you take it, you use it, you fork it, whatever you need to do to build on top of Filecoin. And you can learn how we make storage deals and kind of have the same success. We know that most people, though, they're looking for something simple. Like a lot of users just want to be able to drag and drop files and upload them to the Filecoin network. Before, I think when Filecoin launched, we didn't really have a good story for this, but today, now we have many tools. You'll hear from Web3 storage, NFT storage as well, for how easy it is to get data onto the Filecoin network. And I think this is going to be a game changer because now that you can do this and you can upload a file, you can get a link back, the feedback is so much faster. I think it's going to make a huge difference. And so what people really want to see is proof that my data is on Filecoin. And so what Estuary does with all the tooling that you just saw and with a simple GUI, you can know that your deal is on chain. And not only that, you have the receipt. So you can click on a proposal receipt before the deal is made. And you can see the Filecoin deal receipt as well. And you can actually see how long the deal is going to be on chain. You can see the retrieval links. You can see how big it is. And so we're really excited about the next stages of this and the improvements to tooling that will allow people to add more data to the Filecoin network. And so what's the point, right? So the point is you have valuable data. You want to make your data available to the world and ensure it's archived and retrievable from anywhere. You need a simple tool to upload that data and prove that data exists. And I think today is going to be awesome because there's going to be so many really cool tools that we've made over the last 6 months that really demonstrate how much easier it is to get data on chain into Filecoin. And so Estuary, where we kind of sit in the tool chain is that we want to make uploading data to Filecoin and replicating that data around the world a 5-minute problem, right? So log in, upload a file, and retrieve the CID from any IPFS gateway. Boom, that's done, right? And then you can kind of go from there and know that as we work behind the scenes, you'll get that data stored on at least 6 storage providers. And so we have tools like the Verify Your CID page where you'll know exactly which providers in the world that data, where that data lives. And I think that's a massive improvement to tooling. And I think there's a lot to do here that we can improve on. And so we're really excited from this point to see what's next. We also provide a variety of ways. So one way to look at Estuary as a tool, as a next generation IPFS node, is that you can upload your data through many means. You can give us a single file and we'll preserve the UnixFS structure for that. You can give us a CID that's already pinned to an IPFS node somewhere else and we'll put that to the Filecoin network, or you can upload a CAR file. So all the innovation around packing data into different trees, we can take advantage of that and you can put that data onto the Filecoin network. So we are not thinking in a rigid way, like there's only one way that you can use the Filecoin network. We're actually thinking more broadly. So many developers can just simply, contribute open source code to our tooling, actually all of our tooling, right? The entire ecosystem's tooling, and make improvements and upload data. So let's take a 1,000-foot view. I think, here's a little map of the world so you can see, how broadly we think. And, we'll have some storage providers here and there, some peer IDs, and that's current state of the Filecoin network. And we'll have some Estuary nodes. And these Estuary nodes will be making storage deals. And this is kind of like the rough sketch of what we were thinking, right? So just, how do we start putting these nodes around the world so they can make deals? And as we grow up and as we improve as an open source project that anyone can take and run themselves, we have, broader visions around like, if there's data everywhere in every major city, we can help funnel, data to those storage providers and provide a place to do a lot of really cool things around the post-processing of data, et cetera. So Estuary is just the beginning of that. To report on some of our performance, we have 17,000 deals on chain as of last week, 21,000 of them successful, 8 million plus files, 500 terabytes of pinned IPFS data. So you can get that from any IPFS gateway, 151 terabytes of total sealed storage, and 111 storage providers are working with us, which is has been great. They've been super helpful. So we couldn't have this performance without great collaboration with the storage providers around the world. They come from everywhere and they give us a lot of feedback, and they're really, I have to say, they have temperance around, just we have some bugs and we work together to fix them. And I just want to say I really appreciate all of you and thank you for working with us. And so the goal here, of course, is to keep these charts going up to the right. And so we are just onboarding data every day. In fact, by today, looking at the numbers, we're at 34,000 Filecoin deals, 288 terabytes seal storage on just our one estuary node. So if you can imagine an entire web of these estuary nodes uploading data and deduping data, it's just really exciting. So how do developers use estuary? I don't have much time, but you can find me on the internet and you can look at our open source docs. You can write code into these docs too. You can get an invite for estuary here. So if you want to use it, you want to use the API, you can quickly jump into here and follow our tutorials. And I'm always available for any questions you may have. APIs are really simple. You have a curl example, you have a React example, and you can reach us on Twitter at a research group. And I hope to hear from you soon. And thank you for the time. And thank you, everyone, all the open source contributors who helped us do this. We really appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kadir. I'm the PM for Web3.Storage. And Web3.Storage is an easy, open, and free way for developers to work with IPFS and Filecoin. And I'm sure you've heard it many times already today, but IPFS is a peer-to-peer distributed file system that addresses files based on their content, not their location. And Filecoin, of course, is the incentive layer for that. It's a cryptocurrency-based decentralized storage network. And Jimmy has already talked about why that is important and what that gives you. Well, one thing traditionally that's been difficult to do for new developers in particular was running your own infrastructure to work with IPFS. And interfacing directly with Filecoin can also be a little bit challenging because it's a storage marketplace. And Web3.Storage aims to make the process of storing data on this decentralized storage network as simple as possible. And for the initial launch, we've focused on providing a really awesome experience for web developers in particular. So we have a great JavaScript client and an HTTP API, and it's all lovingly tailored to make web developers really happy. So as I said, we have a client library for JavaScript that works in the browser and that works in Node. We also have a client library for Go. But the only thing you have to do is essentially sign up, get your API key, and store something in content addressable way and in distributed storage in less than 5 minutes. On the screen, you can see the code. I think it's like less than 10 lines. And people actually have used this in their applications. Just copy paste and you're good to go. And retrieving is even easier. So you can, again, use our client library to do that. But you can also retrieve from any IPFS node and from any gateway URL. We have awesome, amazing docs with tutorials, concepts, and a complete API reference. And Web3.Storage set is simple, open, and free. And the open part is the open architecture. It might be a little intimidating to look at it like this, but basically, Web3.Storage will never lock you in. Part of that is with IPFS. So if you want to move to some other service in the future, you can just dump the CIDs and import them somewhere else that supports IPFS, because when you give us your files in either as CAR files or as raw files, what we do is we pin them for you. So they're available we have the Pinata cluster, but also just through the peer-to-peer network. And what we do then is make them available in Filecoin. So if Web3.Storage is not available for whatever reason, your data is stored in distributed storage via Filecoin, and it can be retrieved by anyone. No need to go through Web3.Storage. So this is the files listing page, and it shows you all the things that you've uploaded to Web3.Storage, and you can see again the CIDs there. So those are the CIDs that you can just copy and get access to from anywhere. And you can also see the storage providers, and those are the Filecoin storage providers. And following the links there, you can get all the details necessary to retrieve it from the Filecoin network. This is the storage API that gives you the same thing that you can get through the file listing in an API. And best of all of this is completely free. So no strings attached up to a terabyte. And above that, we ask you that you work with us to let us know what your plans are so we can scale the service with your needs. And we can do that because of the economics of Filecoin, because the more storage providers store useful data, the more they're rewarded. So our costs are the overhead of running Web3.storage, and we don't pay for data storage, and neither do you. And like in very simple terms, it's like Filecoin storage providers commit their hard disk space to the Filecoin network. They earn significant block rewards for doing so, and which translates into real world profits. And as you can see from the cashbacks, this incentivizes Filecoin storage providers to continue committing additional hard disk space to the network. And when they store data from users on the network, their likelihood of winning block rewards goes up by a big factor of 10x. And so you can see the potential profits to be made by storing real user data. And this is such a powerful incentive for Filecoin storage providers to store user data, such as the data from Web3.storage, that they are willing to offer free storage in order to get this block reward multiple. And as long as block rewards continue to be a powerful incentive for Filecoin storage providers, which will be true for a very long time, storage should be free for all verified users on the Filecoin network. And that allows us to offer free storage on Filecoin through Web3.storage. And to recap, Web3.storage is super simple to use. You'll be storing and retrieving files in minutes, and it's using open standards. We'll never lock you in. That's the power of content addressing and distributed storage. It's completely free to store and retrieve from. So if that all sounds good and you want to give it a try, head over to web3.storage, sign up and follow our simple getting started guide, browse our docs, find out how to build simple serverless apps and dApps, and join us on the IPFS Discord and the Web3 storage channel in Slack. Thank you.
Okay, hey everyone. I'm Yusuf, and I'm here to talk about NFT storage, which is thankfully, Kadir just explained almost everything you need to know about NFT storage because it's very much like Web3.storage. In fact, we launched NFT storage a few months before, and Web3 storage sort of builds on the same premise. So we've got the only difference really is NFT storage is for NFTs. So it's for the media assets, images, video, whatever, and also the metadata that you're going to use to describe those assets. So what I'm going to try and do is give you a literal 5-minute demo. How do you get stuff on the Web3 or into NFT storage? And cheat a tiny bit. I've already created a node project and installed the dependencies. So I've installed the NFT storage package, but we got an empty source file here. So I'm going to say index.mjs, and then we'll start importing stuff. So import NFT storage from NFT storage, and I'm also going to pull in this file thing. And then I'm going to grab some stuff so I can read things from the disk. So import file system, all that. And actually, I'm going to super cheat and copy paste all this boring stuff from a working version because time is running out. So we got imports, and this is just to read in the file. And we're going to need an API token. So back here on the site, I can go to my API keys. I'm already logged in since this is the speed run version. And I can create a new API key once I'm signed in and copy it to my clipboard here. Now I'm going to just make a global variable and paste it in. In a real app, of course, you would want to protect your token, but I'm going to be throwing this one away. So, all right, the stage is set. We've got everything we need. So I'm going to make a function here. Async function, store NFT, and it takes a file name and the name of the NFT and a description string. Right, and so then I make an NFT storage client. New NFT storage, pass in the token. And all right, so we got a client. And now I'm going to read in the file. Read file, file name. And then I'm going to be using the store method, which is a little fussy about what kind of file data it will accept. It wants you to adhere to the metadata standard called ERC 1155. So it wants the MIME type to be included. So I'm going to use a thing called an NPM package called MIME to look that up from the file name. So type equals mime.lookup, image file name. All right. And then now I'm going to make a file object to contain the image. This is going to be image equals new file, pass in the raw data, the bytes of the file, and then also give it the file name and the content type. Okay, so now I have a file object, which is the same kind of object that you would have in a browser context, but here it's like a node polyfill. And then now I can call the client method. So I'm going to return client.store, and it takes image, name, and description fields. This is all defined in that metadata standard I was talking about. You can also optionally give it, whatever properties you want here. And if you want to, you can store any arbitrary data with NFT storage that doesn't fit this schema with a different store blob function if you're interested in that. All right, so now I have this, again, some copy paste from before for the boilerplate stuff. This is just a main function that's going to read in some arguments and then call the function that we just defined. Okay, so now, fingers crossed, this might actually work. So I do node index and then give it some arguments. All right. Sadly, I forgot to code up a progress bar here, but hey, it worked. Yes. So this first part is the CID of the root, which is actually a graph that contains a sort of a CBOR object, and then all the image that you uploaded, all the data there and everything else is linked in that graph. But you can easily get to just the metadata.json. This is the bit you want to include in NFT when you're printing. This is the part that goes on chain. And if we had time, I would load this up in an IPFS gateway and show you guys the thing, but you'll have to take my word for it since I think I am running low on time. All right, let's see. I think that is probably all I've got. If you have questions about NFT storage, well, first of all, let me first say what it might be the most important thing that I forgot to mention. It is also free, like Web3.storage. There's no limits on how much you can upload. We just want to make sure that you're using it for NFT data. At some point, we might validate that these that are actually being included in NFTs on chain. And yeah, we're also planning to add other NFT related features. So we encourage people to use this instead of Web3.storage for NFTs, so we can kind of tailor it to the needs of NFT creators. All right, I think that's all I got. Oh, actually, wow, I was speedier than I expected. I have 2 minutes left. I just looked at the clock. So I could ramble on a little bit about NFT.storage for a second, I suppose. We do have API documentation, and we've got client libraries that are in all kinds of languages. So that's one distinction between NFT storage and Web3.storage. Oh, okay. Oh, the time is up. All right, never mind. I'm done.